Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, The Vintage Pickin Mama. It's been a while since I've done a video. I've been really busy just getting my son, settling into school stuff, and you know how mom life goes, we're always on the run. But I'm actually in a beautiful place right now. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, a place I've never been before. I love going to Savannah, and I have family that lives in the Georgia area, so my husband and I decided to take a weekend and explore a little bit. Now, as some of you might know, my son's name is actually Gable Grant. He's named after two of my favorite Hollywood actors, Clark.Gable and Cary Grant. Clark.Gable, if you don't know, is most famous for the movie Gone with the Wind. So we're here at the Gone with the Wind Museum in Marietta, Georgia, which is just outside of Atlanta. And we're gonna go inside and check it out. So you guys come along for the ride. There's my son, Gable. Hi. And there's our service dog, Happy. There's the hubby. It's actually really nice and cool right now. Nice respite from the heat of Florida. The sign on the front says Brumby Hall, 1851. This property has been placed in the National Register of Historic Places by the United States Department of the Interior. I love these old-fashioned southern porches. I just need my mint julep and a fan. Home to Tara. Kind of sits high on a little bit of a hill. It's a little bit away from the main hub of the city. I don't know if you can see it, but through those trees, there's actually a little graveyard. All right, let's go inside. So y'all, we just bought our tickets in the main gift shop, and now we're actually in the foyer, and we're gonna take a look around. I want you guys to see everything that's here, so I'm gonna flip it and start a new video. I have to confess, I was never a big Olivia de Havilland fan. These cases have all of the signatures of the cast. If you don't know, here's some fun trivia. Vivien Leigh was actually married to Laurence Olivier, who is most famous for his performances of Shakespeare and Hamlet at the time. After she did Gone with the Wind, he actually did an Alfred Hitchcock movie called Rebecca, which if you haven't seen it, is one of my favorite movies. And Vivien Leigh tried out for the very shy, passive, submissive main character of Mrs. De Winter. And Hitchcock famously said, "You would never play Mrs. De Winter, you are more like Rebecca." And you'll have to watch the movie to find out why that was a very big insult. She's so beautiful. When it was first announced that they were going to be making the famous Margaret Mitchell novel Gone with the Wind into a movie, thousands of starlets flocked to Hollywood to be considered for the role. Rumor has it that Charlie Chaplin's wife at the time, Paulette Goddard, was actually cast as Scarlett O'Hara when the director, on the sly, took a plane trip to England to see Vivien Leigh in a play. He brought her out to Hollywood for a test shot, and he said it was her green eyes which captivated him. I'm not sure if the rumor is true, but according to Paulette Goddard, that's the way it happened. This dress is really, really large. I don't know if you can tell. Probably not, but the bottom of the dress is probably at least 5 feet in diameter. That's her famous dress that she goes to the picnic in. This is her curtain dress. The OCD in me is bothered that this frame is crooked on the top left. We have quite a little bit of a Madame Alexander doll collection. A lot of other dolls. My son says they're creepy dolls. But if you're a doll collector like me, I don't think they're creepy. Here's her famous ball gown, which again, the bottom is probably like 6 feet on this, and the waist is an impossibly small 18 inches. And watch out a little bit, Gabe. There's the wedding dress. Let's go take a look at what this says. So, let me zoom. It's talking a little bit about each costume. I am a diehard fan, so most of these I don't need an introduction to. But if you come and you're not a big fan of the film, it's interesting to read all these tidbits. This one is talking about the Bingling Gown and hat. This gown was worn by Vivian Lee as Scarlett O'Hara. The gown was designed by Walter Plunkett and has been reproduced many times for dolls. The hat is an exact reproduction of the original, which was designed by Mr. John. And then there are some costume drawings. This is my favorite costume. This one is so teensy tiny. I don't even think my 11-year-old son could wear that costume. And of course, her famous arched eyebrow stare. There's something very feline and cat-like about Scarlett. I'm going to zoom in a little bit and tell you some other fun facts. So the character of Mammy was played by Hattie McDaniel. She was actually one of the most famous African-American actresses in Hollywood at the time, because there was still a lot of discrimination and prejudice in Hollywood. Growing up near Los Angeles, I visited Hollywood Forever Cemetery many times. Excuse me. And there is a plaque there bearing her likeness with her name. She actually had the express wish at the time of her death to be buried in Hollywood Forever, where most of the stars and Hollywood actors at the time were buried. It was considered a great honor, and they actually denied that to Hattie. And years later, her family had a monument erected, but her remains are not at the cemetery, which leads some speculation that she haunts the cemetery because her wishes were not respected. She is also the actress from Holiday Inn and many other movies of the time. She actually appeared in over 100 films, but was only credited with about half of those because of laws discriminating against what they called side actors or character actors, and the fact that she was African American, of course, in Hollywood at the time, was not something that was treated with respect. So she's very overlooked as being a great character actress of her time. Here are the Gone with the Wind chairs. These chairs were used in several scenes in Gone with the Wind. This is where Melanie is greeted by Mammy as she prepares to speak with Rhett about, spoiler alert, Bonnie's death. There is the dashing Clark Gable, who I just think was deliciously handsome. That picture right there is Laurence Olivier, who was Vivian Lee's husband. He later went on to marry someone else. Rumor has that Vivian never got over it until the day she died. She wanted every hotel bell clerk, every restaurant host, every waiter, every assistant to call her Mrs. Olivier. She never actually changed her name legally back to Lee, and it was said that she loved Laurence till the day she died. Some speculated in Hollywood that it was more outrage that someone so beautiful and prestigious as her would have lost her husband to another woman. Of course, that's speculation. She did have one child whom she left behind in England. Her daughter was actually raised by family. She said she was not cut out to be a mother. This led to a tell-all book later on, which did not portray her her family skills very well. But you can look at the facts and decide what you will. She was an amazing actress and an icon. And she's forever immortalized as Scarlett O'Hara. Clark Gable had many loves, one of which died famously in a plane crash. That was Carole Lombard. He actually tried to commit suicide years later, and his good friend Lucille Ball, Desi Arnaz, actually had to take him in for a few months after Carole's death because he was so upset. Famously had a love child in Hollywood that was covered up. There's the very demure Melanie. Personally, I think if you take away Vivian Lee's real life family troubles, her character of Scarlett O'Hara, I would consider her much more a Scarlett than a Melanie. This is a picture of Anne Wallace Brumby, whom this property belonged to and was donated to become this museum. So we are grateful to Miss Brumby. Here is a case of various copies of Gone with the Wind, showing that they've been translated into many different languages. Here's a painting of this house, Brumby Hall. This is how the grounds looked in 1851. Isn't that amazing?
So you're saying the house we're in right now is
Yes.
a remake of that house?
My son is fascinated by this. That's the house. That's how it looked in 1851. What do you think about that? Pretty cool, right?
It's almost exactly like this house, but I don't think it has that little end.
No, this is the house, honey. It's just that's how it looked in 1851. And then, of course, I'm going to zoom in right here. If you don't know, pineapple is a symbol of hospitality.
Oh yeah, in Hawaii.
Yes. Because pineapple was one of the rarest and was a high delicacy fruit in the South, it became something that people of a certain caliber would bring to others to welcome them to certain events or the neighborhood, and thus it became something that was designed in a lot of lamps and home furnishings, home warming gifts. I'm really impressed with everything here. I wasn't really sure what to expect. Growing up near Hollywood, I've been to a lot of museums, but I find this one really really respectable with the amount of trivia and clothing and items that they have. My grandmother grew up in West Virginia, so I have a lot of deep roots to the south. But I have to say that Georgia has been so beautiful. It blew away all of my expectations. And the people are really friendly and warm. It's everything that you really think about when you think of Southern hospitality. So thank you, Georgia. Now, who is this dashing man right here? This is Colonel, I'm gonna probably butcher this name, Arnoldus V. Brumby. It looks like it's that. So we're in another room now. This is the famous Selznick studio sign, which appeared in several openings of different movies. It was actually very controversial in Hollywood at the time because David Selznick wanted credit for many movies in which he did not actually direct. In fact, a few of Alfred Hitchcock's first movies, Selznick claimed credit for. And of course, one of the problems with Gone with the Wind was they went through several different writers, several different directors, but the end result was spectacular. What do you think, Gabe?
I think it's very cool and fascinating.
Do you find it interesting to find out more about clark.gable, whom you named after? Yeah? I always tell my son that he's very lucky to have such a unique name because I have never met other people. And there is a collage on the wall, again with some of the autographs of some of the famous stars. Even though all of Hollywood was very, very happy to have clark.gable play Rhett Butler, he originally did not want the role. In his words, it was, quote, a sissy part. How ironic. And then we have Leslie Howard, who played Ashley Wilkes, and he was actually a war hero and died as a bomber pilot. All right, y'all, so I went ahead and picked up a couple of souvenirs in the really cute gift shop. I really, really enjoyed coming here. It's been on my bucket list for a long time. I wish that I could have spent a little bit more time, but we have a couple things that we're planning on doing in the area, and 3 days is not enough time to see everything that we want to see in Atlanta. But thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you guys learned a little something, and if you haven't seen Gone with the Wind, please go get a copy right now. And if you have seen it, please share it with somebody who is not familiar with this amazing, amazing movie. As always, guys, please subscribe and like and comment on this channel. Helps me be motivated and know that you guys are watching. So thanks next time, and I'll see you at the Pickin place. Bye, y'all.